I want to make an additional point regarding my earlier video, World War III and the Law of Eternal Return, which I didn't make in that piece because it didn't fit into the flow of the essay. That point is this. One expects the racial, ethnic and national tolerance fostered by liberal elites to erode very quickly if the war predicted in the aforementioned video comes to pass. Ugly sentiments against Chinese people in general, and not just the CCP, can be expected to bubble up rather swiftly. If this seems unlikely, think of the wave of violence against East Asians during the COVID pandemic. Conspiracy theories notwithstanding, that pandemic was in no way an intentional act on the part of Beijing. And yet, it stimulated rage against Chinese people, and East Asians in general by extension, from a not insignificant segment of the population. Never underestimate your fellow citizens' capacity for stupidity. What will happen if and when the first American ship is sunk and hundreds of young Americans are sent, very intentionally, to the bottom of the ocean? What will this do to public sentiment towards Chinese? One can already picture the bricks sailing through the windows of Chinese supermarkets, or at least those not displaying their loyalty to DC with a sufficient lack of subtlety. Indeed, since Putin's invasion of Ukraine, how many Western leaders have felt at pains to say, not all Russians? Instead, Finland, with nary any protestation from the West, closed its borders to young Russian men trying to flee conscription. That is to say, trying to avoid being sent to kill Ukrainians. One still waits for Western elites to decry calling Russians orcs, a term vastly more dehumanizing than Fritz or Charlie. One also did not hear the Western media denounce Hong Kong protesters in 2019, with whom I have great sympathy, using the racial slur "zhi na go" against mainlanders. This is not to say that Western elites are somehow secretly racist, or to make a false equivalence. Chinese state internet censors are vastly more tolerant of the crudest racism against Africans and Jews than are the decentralized censors of corporate America. To do this would make me guilty of what I have called naive cynicism. Naive cynicism is the very modern idea that political actors are driven primarily by self-interest, however conceived, rather than a commitment to a set of principles, however wrong-headed or even outright evil those principles may be. Rather, what I am suggesting is that war has a corrupting effect even on non-combatants. This corruption could operate by either one of two mechanisms. Condemning bigotry towards the ethnicity of the enemy may be felt to detract from support for the war effort, where winning the war is considered to be a greater good than consistently opposing ethnic or racial hatred. It is especially easy to see how one could justify this to oneself when said hatred is limited in scope to one or two ethnicities. Alternatively, leading the conflict may instill genuine bigotry in the hearts of elites where previously there was none. Let's not forget, elites are humans too. The point being made in this addendum is simply this. Notions of historical progress should be treated with suspicion. The liberal order condemns racial and ethnic hatred. This is decidedly a good thing, bracketing the issues one may have with American critical race theory. The West is, generally, far less racist and bigoted than it was just a few generations ago. However, one should treat with great suspicion the notion that this constitutes real and irreversible progress. Racism is sometimes falsely identified as a traditional value, when it is in fact thoroughly modern. It does not, therefore, take much for a modern to become racist, including those who construct their entire political identities around opposition to racism. I suspect that war would be more than enough to bring out ethnic animosity in many a cosmopolitan liberal. If you value my work, I'd be most grateful if you would like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with anyone you think might be interested. If you would like to support me in working on this project, I'd be deeply thankful if you would consider becoming a regular supporter through Patreon or making a one-time donation through Ko-fi. Links in the description.
If you do subscribe, please remember to hit that little bell icon, because otherwise YouTube won't inform you when I upload new videos.
If you'd prefer to read my essays over the video format, they are all available in written form on Substack. Link also in the description.